Good afternoon and welcome to Nutmeg Sports on the HAN Network. It is Tuesday, March 21st, and the Ridgefield Tigers, for the first time ever, are the Division I boys hockey state champions. A 6-2 win last night over Northwest Catholic. I'll give it to you. You called this one.
Hey, how about that third period?
Oh, man.
We talked about yesterday how, throughout these playoffs, the Tigers really show up in that third period, and they tacked on 3 big insurance goals to solidify the championship. And I thought what Sean Gallagher said well after the game was, not only is this championship for the school, but it's for the community, it's for all the youth coaches that have taught and coached these 11 seniors especially, and to the parents who have driven all around the state, around the country, for their kids to be able to be in this moment and win a state championship.
I thought, Don, that as great as the third period was and they come out firing away, it was the first period that was most impressive. 3 goals in a 24-second span.
Yeah, and you figured that had to have Northwest Catholic back on their heels. Ironically, looking at this bracket, I thought Northwest Catholic played maybe their best game of the tournament. I mean, to be honest, I picked against them in two straight rounds. I thought they would beat St. Joe's. I thought they would lose to Hamden. I thought they would lose to New Canaan. And after the way they played against New Canaan, even in a victory, getting outshot 38-19, I thought this was going to be Ridgefield's game all the way. And Northwest Catholic played them to a standstill, made that big comeback in the second period, but that early third period goal was just a backbreaker.
And Eric, they threw 32 shots on net. Really what gets overlooked in this performance, because the Tigers scored 6 goals, was that Sean Keegan's had to have a huge night. He made 30 saves.
Oh, hey, yeah, I'm here too. How's everyone doing? That was we talked about it. You guys talked about it most recently. Sean Keegan's had to be at the top of his game in order for Ridgefield to win a championship, and he was throughout this entire tournament. Wasn't the clean sheets maybe that we've seen a couple times from him, but still put up a heck of an effort in that game against a Northwest Catholic team that has been putting up a good amount of goals.
And they have been putting up a good amount of goals. The offense just stymied last night when you look at it. Nick Cullinan kicked the scoring off. We were talking off the air, and a name that we didn't mention when John Kovac was with us, or even when Don was with us, about who was going to step up, be an impact player. Mateo Van Wees, the leading scorer for the Tigers, the senior leader, 2 goals last night. You had 3 players who chipped in 3 points as well, but maybe we just expected Van Wees was going to have that kind of a night.
I think so, and that was actually a good pick by you, picking Nick Cullinan. He really got the night going. 2 assists as well.
Dude's a gamer, man. He shows up when it matters, especially
I think
in these
you know
big
your
games.
hockey. I think that's why. No, but Mateo has been really the key factor this season for the Ridgefield Tigers. He's really done a great job on the offensive end. Also helps out great defensively too. Comes back, helps out the defense, and he really has been a great team leader for this Ridgefield Tiger team. And to finish off the season with 2 goals, it's only fitting for Mateo.
Yeah, and he had 6 of the Tigers' 12 shots on goal in the first period. He obviously came out ready to play, showing that senior leadership early on to get the Tigers rolling.
He finished with 10 shots total in the game. You talked about the effort defensively. Ridgefield with 12 block shots in the game. 9 of them came in that first period, which you might look at it and say, oh, did they sort of get out of the way of shots in the second and third period? But it's no. They score these 3 quick goals, and all of a sudden there's this onslaught coming, this wave of shots at Sean Keegan's, and the Tigers selling out the body, that Game 7 mentality. Defensively, again, their group just so strong all year long, and they played that way till the end of the year.
No, they really were. I mean, it was everything we talked about. It was defense, it was depth, being able to run those 4 lines out there. It was goaltending, senior leadership. I mean, really, this Ridgefield team literally had everything. They were the best team in the state all year long. They were the most consistent team in the state. They really didn't have any real bad losses or just inexplicable kind of head-scratching games. Going to the tournament, we thought it was was really theirs. We thought Fairfield Prep would probably be their toughest obstacle. That turned out to be the case. But again, the consistency just carried them all the way through.
And Eric, that's a great point that was made right there, is they were the most consistent team all year. I think a lot of people agreed they were the best team in the state, but they didn't have that down moment or that lapse at any point in time. They lose early on in the year in a tight one to Xavier, split the series with Fairfield Prep, losing in overtime. They avenged that loss. They did it from start to finish, and I thought they were the most deserving team to hold up that trophy at the end of the season, Eric.
No, absolutely. I mean, we really look at like the last 6 weeks of the season, Richfield was just remarkably consistent and everything breaking their way, and those guys that we expect to step up continue to step up. I mean, really playing. I know they went in as the number 2 seed, but really, I think when it's all said and done, clearly the number one hockey team in the state of Connecticut this season. Just from start to finish, a couple hiccups here and there, but from start to finish, really hands down the best team in the state.
And you're right. They're the number 2 seed in the state tournament, but that's virtue of a tiebreaker in the power points against Northwest Catholic. And you make a good point. The last 6 weeks, they were just so good. Really, the only hiccup along the way or blemish on the record would have been the quarterfinal game against Fairfield Prep, where, they're down 3-0 early on, 3-1 early, but the ability and the adversity to overcome that deficit and the comeback there, I really showed the moxie of this team and proved why they were still standing at the top of the mountain at the end of this year.
Well, it did, and that game went into overtime, let's not forget, and at the beginning of overtime, and Fairfield Prep was buzzing around the net for a lot of the second half of the third period. Keegan's kept them off the board, and then they were able to get that goal early on into the overtime period to win that game. So just everything we've talked about.
Who scored that goal in overtime against Fairfield Prep?
It was Frank Granito.
Yeah, you wish.
Don, that win, I know it was against your Fairfield Prep, but I think that win really boosted their confidence for the Richfield Tigers. Because if you think about it, they were pretty gassed, playing a very tough FCAC final against New Canaan. Going into that quarterfinal, they looked pretty winded. Coming out the big win like that against Fairfield Prep, they go in, play West Haven, they win, then they go in and beat Northwest Catholic. And I think what they really wanted to do, this is a Northwest Catholic team that knows how to score. And I think Ryan Sherba is a guy for Northwest Catholic who leading scorer of the team, and they really wanted to shut him down last night. And he was quoted as saying, listen, every time I got the puck, I felt like I had a defender on me, either on my left or my right. And I think, all 3 lines played excellent last night for the Richfield Tigers, and Coach Gallagher said that they wanted to hold Northwest Catholic to under 3 goals. And if they do, they're probably going to have a good chance to win, and sure enough, they did.
And that was the case. They really shut him down. They didn't allow him any time and space. He even at one point in time went over to Sean Keegans and gave him a little fist pump there after a save he made in the second period. Eric, we want to go to the highlights here, but I'll give you a final thought before we run the clips of the closing seconds in this one.
Yeah, the last loss Richfield had was on February 16th, and that was the Prep. It was a 4-1 loss. You kind of wonder, they had been going on this incredible run there. You kind of wonder if that was almost the coming together moment for them. That was the last time this team lost this season, and they really turned it around and just turned on the afterburners. You always see those big teams, especially at the high school level, where they go on these incredible streaks, winning 12 in a row or whatever. And if they lose one still in the regular season, that's almost the catalyst that pulls the team together usually. And better to do it then than in the playoffs. And I think from that point on, there was really no looking back for the Tigers.
We don't have full highlights of the game, but we can show you the closing seconds and the celebration for the Richfield Tigers winning their first ever state championship in Division I of boys hockey. Look, I've been to the Yale Whale. I played in a state championship game there. I've been on the wrong side of things. I can tell you how low that moment is, but just the utter euphoria on the other side of the ice for those kids, especially getting to win the program's first state championship. A huge shout out to the Richfield Tigers this year.
And it's always a cool moment, no matter what team it is. At the end of a championship game in hockey, when you see them, rip the gloves off, you see all the helmets flying on the ice. It's a cool moment, and they all. That's
actually what I was thinking. I was thinking to myself, I was putting myself in the seat of the Ridgefield parents, watching these sticks be thrown 30 feet in the air, and thinking to myself, I don't know about that, but everyone was okay.
And you know what? That's the coolest thing about hockey. I think is that at the end of the day, if a champion wins, they get to celebrate on the ice, but they come together, both teams at center ice, and shake hands. And I think that's the coolest thing.
Most famous line in all sports, man.
That's right.
We're going to have more on the Ridgefield win and the winter season. Maybe even look forward to the spring at the end of the show, but we're going to take a break right now. When we get back, we'll be joined by Chris Kalin, who's going to talk to us about the Division I Little League Umpire Clinic that's taking place right now. That's up next on Nutmeg Sports on the HAN Network.
Get a fresh start to the new year by shaking up your meal routine. Walter Stewart's Market is your local source for a delicious selection of fresh and convenient salad shakers, like Southwest salad with chicken, Cobb with organic chicken, Power Vegan with fruit and quinoa, Greek salad with tabbouleh, and grilled shrimp with hominy. Grab one from our salad case or order from our deli today. Walter Stewart's Market, 229 Elm Street, New Canaan, or shop online at stewartsmarket.com.
While there's still a bite out on the water, most anglers have decided to stow the gear for the winter. Just because Mother Nature isn't cooperating doesn't mean you can't see the latest models of all your favorite gear. With 2 convenient locations, it couldn't be easier to get your fix of summer. Boater, beach bum, fisherman, or simply love the New England coast, this is a unique place to shop. The Dock Shop, 51 Tokenique Road, Darien, 609 Riverside Avenue, Westport, or on the web, dockshop.com.
When it comes to considering the outside of your home, just imagine the possibilities. Whether your dream is a stunning freeform pool or a tranquil, secluded garden, the team of professionals at Stonebridge Associates will make it a reality. We offer unparalleled landscape design and construction, masonry development, pools, spas, and water features, as well as landscape and garden maintenance. No other firm can offer the same level of creativity, quality, and personal attention. Discover the possibilities at stonebridgeassociates.net or call 203-544-8376 today.
If you're watching this broadcast, you're not alone. The HAN network is available for 200,000 Connecticut cable customers on the Frontier network, and we've also reached more than 2 million viewers on our free live streaming sports, news, and entertainment broadcasts. To reach our rapidly growing audience, contact Advertising Director Jessica Murrin at 203-273-7312 or email jessica@han.network.
Back on Nutmeg Sports on the HAN Network, Frank Granito and Kevin Coleman, as we are now going to welcome in HAN correspondent Chris Kalin, who is the umpire-in-chief for the District 1 Little League in Connecticut. And Chris, you go from being sidelined to right inside the field lines now for this spring season. How are you doing this afternoon?
I'm good. Baseball season's right around the corner. I just hope they get all the snow off the fields.
I believe me, you are not alone in that hope. We all could do without the rest of this snow now, but we've got the District 1 clinic coming up, Cato. You'll be running this as the umpire-in-chief. What can we expect on this Sunday, March 26th, when that clinic takes place?
Well, primarily what we're going to do is we're taking it, for youth umpires or pretty much anyone who is new to umpiring. And for everybody who shows up, hopefully I have enough. Rule books will be handed out as well as the Little League case book. And what the case book does, it gives anything I might not cover in the clinic, or it may support anything I may cover in the clinic with in-game scenarios that show, what happens if this. It's almost like you make the call, and it's a great learning tool for umpires at any level, where it actually gives you scenarios where the rules apply.
And obviously those rule books are going to have some changes for this season. We've got some new rules that will be put into effect. What are the ones that, obviously everyone knows the MLB rules coming into effect now. What are we going to see carrying down to the Little League levels?
Well, part of the MLB rule is the 1 foot in the batter's box. That is actually being put into effect for Little League. Its enforcement is going to be basically the same. Batter's required to keep 1 foot in the batter's box at all times. If he steps out of the box there are some guidelines to which the batter can step out of the box, swing and miss if his momentum carries him out of the box. There's a play being made, whether it's at the plate that the catcher's attempting to throw, pick somebody off or catch somebody stealing. If the batter has to avoid a pitch, he can fall out of the box for that, or if he just asks for time.
Mm-hmm. Now, you've been following baseball for such a long time now, and being an umpire, do you like these new rules for baseball? Do you like the fact that now batters can't step out of the box, and now for intentional walks, instead of throwing 4 balls in a row, they're just going to send them down to first base? Do you like these rules new for baseball?
Being an old school guy, I kind of prefer, because when you have to throw, you should always, I always thought, you should be made to throw the pitches. because anything can happen. If you have runners on base, they can steal. Now what you're doing is you're taking that element out of the game. You're actually neutralizing runners for the sake of putting somebody on base. And I was never a big fan of that. And Little Leagues actually, initially when they started with their pitch count, went with that rule where you could just say, say to the umpire, I want to put him on base, and you would put him on base. Then the next year, and then the year after they did that, they rescinded that rule because what they were saying was, it's not fair to have the pitchers on a pitch count and then allow them to put runners on base, and they don't have to throw pitches.
Right, and in your own opinion, how important is it now for kids who are starting to play baseball? Is it important, do you think, for them to learn the game through an umpire's view? Do you think that kids who should be on the younger side, use this clinic and kind of learn the ins and outs of baseball from an umpire's view?
More than important, I would like to see coaches show up for this. Not so much players. I think players, as they get to the high school level, may begin to get an understanding of what it takes to do that job of officiating. So, maybe the players themselves, where they may not want to, they may not choose to pursue it after high school, but they do have a respect for the umpires and the work they have to do because now they've gone through it. They've had to deal with it. So in that aspect, players won't think it's such an easy job to do.
And I agree too, especially in the aspect of coaches coming to this clinic too, because oftentimes now, if you get a coach that maybe gets out of line, is almost disrespectful, there's a trickle-down effect that carries over into the player's mindset. When we talked earlier in the week, one of the rules you said will be being covered at the clinic are new unsportsmanlike conduct rules, some of the stealing of pitch signal rules. What can we see in the changes in that department?
Well, as at times, if anybody's played baseball, if the second baseman can pick up the catcher's signs, or pitch location, he would be able to signal it to the hitter. Okay, now in Little League, they've done away with that to where if the runner on second base or a runner at any base actually is able to pick up the catcher's signs and somehow flash it to the batter, that's considered unsportsmanlike conduct. So what happens is, if a player is caught doing it, the player is ejected from the game, and the manager goes with him. So that in that aspect, I think what Little League is trying to do is trying to get the coaches to say, hey, we catch the players doing it, you go too, police your players.
And it's the right way to do it. And obviously it is an issue at all levels of baseball, and you like to think, especially as an old school guy, there's that gentleman conduct amongst the players that it's an unwritten rule, you don't steal signs, anything like that, but
Right.
There's gamesmanship. Everyone wants to be competitive. Again, we're talking with Chris Kalin, the umpire-in-chief for District 1 Little League. He's got the umpire clinic coming up this Sunday. This isn't an annual event. It's been done in the past by your predecessor, Mickey Vitti. Chris, what was your thought process behind bringing this clinic back this year?
Well, for me, this is my first year as District 1 umpire-in-chief. So I wanted to, make my presence felt to the leagues. And I thought, what better way to do it than to have a clinic and bring the young players in. And it also, what it does, it allows me to establish a dialogue with the individual leagues, whoever wishes to participate. And for me, it gives me a chance to see, young talent, new people getting involved. And, it makes myself available to everybody as well who may have questions, on the rules, how they handle certain situations. I mean, normally what I would do is I would, what I believe would be leave it to the individual leagues umpires in chief, whoever does the assigning and is in charge of the umpires for the individual leagues.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, it allows the leagues to say to their board, we have somebody here who can support us. We don't necessarily have to call Bristol for any kind of, disagreement in the rules, or somebody misinterprets the rules or doesn't apply the rule properly. I'm there to advise. I'm not, my power and authority really doesn't come into effect until the first round of the Tournament of Champions. The tournament, the Little League tournament that ends in Williamsport, Pennsylvania.
And if anyone listening
I
right
would-
now wanted to sign up,
ahead.
what should they do to enroll?
Just show up.
right.
We will be at the Darien Little League Complex Field House. It's right behind the Roten Heights Fire Department on the Roten Avenue in Darien, right off exit 10 off 95. Just go when you see the fire department. That first left right there, right down, and then once you enter that parking lot, you can see the Darien Little League Complex. There's a huge building right in the middle of the two fields. There's an upper field. I know the lower field is Father McGuan Field, and we're right above there. Hopefully, I seriously doubt at this point we're going to be able to get on the field to actually do, on-field work, positioning, and how, for field umpires, how to position, how to get to the right spot, do live active field work. I don't think we're going to be able to do that with the snow still on the field, but it would have been nice.
So, but all right. Well, Chris, I want to thank you for taking time with us today. Hopefully, we get enough people down there on Sunday night, and you guys have a good turnout. We'll talk to you again soon.
Yeah, again, it's Darien Little League. It's the meeting itself is at the field house on the right behind the Roten Heights Fire Department on the Roten Avenue. It starts at 10 a.m. Sunday morning, and it'll probably go. We'll probably do all in class with the rule books, and it'll be till 1 o'clock. I don't want to keep everybody there all day. If anybody has any questions or need to get in touch with me, they can reach me at ctllb1uic@gmail.com.
ctlllu1dic@gmail.com.
And Chris, we got to know, Richfield Tigers state champs last night.
Here we go. He's back on.
I want to get your
Tigers
thoughts.
again.
I want to get your thoughts. He's been with us for hockey
What's
this
the matter?
season. Come on, Chris. We want to know what Richfield Tigers state champs. We just want to get a quick thought.
You know what? Richfield's been the team of destiny all year. We had talked early on. We had got a good look at New Canaan early in the season. I didn't get a good look at Richfield, but the games I saw of them, they were just a balanced team, and it was offense, defense, and with Sean Keegan's in net, they were just an unstoppable force. And in any given game, once they got rolling, if you couldn't weather the storm, you were sunk.
That
For
was
them,
exactly
I
what
don't think
happened
they were
last
a
night.
heavy favorite against Northeast Catholic, but I actually believe they could have won the Division I title right from the beginning. After the victory over New Canaan in the FCI championship, I was convinced it was Ridgefield's season.
It was. We said there was no doubt about it. They were the most consistent team all season long. Chris, again, thanks for taking time with us. We'll talk to you soon, buddy.
Thanks, Chris.
Guys, thank you and take care.
You too. See you soon. That was Chris Kalin, the umpire-in-chief for the District 1 Little League in Connecticut. Kevin and I are going to take one more break here. When we get back, Don joins us again. We're going to put a bow on the winter season in the FCIAC and state of Connecticut on Nutmeg Sports on the HAN Network.
Want a new experience in car buying? No aggravation, no confrontation, just answers to all your questions. Scap Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Car buying the way you want it to be. With one of the largest selections of new 2- and 4-door Jeep Wranglers available, we are Connecticut's Wrangler headquarters. Located in Fairfield, Connecticut, we're easy to get to. Just 2.5 miles off the Merritt Parkway, exit 44 via Route 58 South. Save thousands right now during the spring clearance event and Ram Truck Month, now through March 31st.
Have a sports injury or slip and fall that needs immediate care? Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care gives you direct access to an orthopedic specialist fast, without an appointment. Basketball, hockey, skiing, whatever the sports injury is, sprain or fracture, Coastal Ortho Express can help. Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care open Monday through Saturday, now in 2 locations. The iPark building at 761 Main Avenue in Norwalk and 36 Old Kings Highway South in Darien. Or go to coastalorthoexpress.com, like them on Facebook.
At the Milford Bank, we offer an extensive selection of lending products and services to meet virtually any need. Submit your application online in our Mortgage Web Center. Start to finish, you can apply for a loan in as little as 10 minutes. Our knowledgeable and helpful staff are available to meet with you at your convenience. To learn more about what we can do for you, stop by one of our Milford Bank offices or visit us at milfordbank.com. The Milford Bank, always there. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
It's the In-Sports Athletic Functional Movement Assessment Program.
A program that uses a camera, the same camera that you use with an Xbox video game.
What it involves is 3 phases. One is the initial test, which will give you a very objective and lengthy assessment of how you are moving and where there may be imbalances.
Once test gets the results from the assessment, we'll develop a customized program for the individual.
The objective really to try to get as many young athletes through this program as possible.
We told Dad he could have his office back if he sold 150 cars last month.
Deal's a deal.
Well, Dad, you did it. You get your office back.
Forget it. I'm having too much fun down here. My new goal, 160 cars.
Wow.
Folks, if you ever wanted a great price on a new Nissan, now is the time.
Right now, lease a 2017 Altima 2.5S for only $99 a month.
Isn't it time you got Millerized?
I'm John Kovach. I'm a newspaper editor. I'm a high school football coach. I'm a television presenter. And I want you to love fishing as much as I do. Tune in to Yankee Fisherman, Thursdays at 1 on the HAN network. It's like going to the tackle shop without leaving your office.
Back on the HAN network, and I am joined by the Tiger Paws.
I'm not happy about it. What am I going to do?
We got to embrace it now. Let me throw this question around the room. All right, we've debated Danbury and Ridgefield all winter long. Who had the most impressive overall season, their athletic departments altogether? Is the Ridgefield hockey team the most impressive individual team of the entire winter season? And I will start with you, Don.
I say no. I will stick with Danbury simply because Danbury Wrestling, New England champs. They were the Class LL champ in wrestling. They were the FCAC, Class LL, State Open, and New England champs. Ridgefield might be that good if they had a chance to play a BC High or a Catholic Memorial of Boston or a Mount St. Charles of Rhode Island. Could Ridgefield be competitive with those teams? Yes, I think they probably could, but they just didn't get that opportunity. Danbury did, and they took advantage of it.
No disrespect to the Tigers because they were far and away the best team there. I don't know how they stack up against some of the other prep schools in New England here, but let me go to you next, Eric. Where does the Ridgefield hockey team stand amongst the rest of the winter sports teams?
I'm sorry. Danbury Wrestling, just the absolute domination that they put down this entire season on every single team they went up against. And, it wasn't that much of a squeaker at New England's either. That one was pretty well in hand as well. I mean, just the absolute dominating fashion that Danbury Wrestling put together. Don't get me wrong. Ridgefield had an amazing season. But, Danbury was undefeated and undefeated by a lot. I mean, in just the individual performances and the team, the team overall, I do got to put Danbury above Ridgefield in that regard, in my opinion.
I'm on board with Coleman, man. Like, I'm telling you, baby, Tigers hockey. Hey. You can say what you want. Danbury was absolutely incredible, but dominating performance. They won 5-1 and 6-2 in the semifinals and the championship of the D1 hockey tournament. They've never won the D1 state championship before. They won the FCEC as well. Only 2 losses all year. Individually, I think the Ridgefield Tigers the hockey team was the best team all year. Yes, the Danbury winter programs altogether, though, take the crown, in my opinion.
Well, I'm glad to see you wearing the wig again. It looks great on you. I'm glad you agree. I got to rep my Tigers. What a season it was for their hockey team, and it's so great for the community of Ridgefield to have a hockey team like this, not only win FCACs, but win states. This is going to be a big boost for the youth programs. You have kids looking up to these, especially these 11 seniors and the varsity team as a whole. What a performance. What a way to bring home that first state title, and it's going to look good in that Tigers gym.
It was an unbelievable winter season. We're going to have more on the winter season, a full wrap-up on it. We'll have the top plays, top performances, the best games later in the week. We're also just days away now from the FCX Spring Sports Tour. We've got that coming around the conference starting next Monday. We're going to take a look ahead, too, at the spring season. We've got a team ranked number 3 in the nation in the preseason polls right now. So take your blood pressure pills now, because if anything is going to be consistent here, the spring season should be just as exciting. Final thoughts around the room. Let's start with Eric Gendron.
I'm sorry, Tigers. No, it was an amazing season. I think if you go back to our debate we had before, who had a better winter season, I do think I lean towards the Tigers now. I mean, just the excitement that the Ridgefield basketball team brought. Just all the cardiac cats, all those close games, buzzer beaters, and close games and overtimes, multiple overtimes that they went through. We had so much fun covering them. The ice hockey team was so impressive. It was a really fun and unique winter season. We saw a lot of teams that don't usually, crack the late rounds of the playoffs get there. It's always fun to see different teams in the mix, and we love a good story here because that's what we're trying to tell. We're trying to show you some good stories, and we got a lot of them this winter. That's for sure.
Absolutely, Don.
I'm going to go with buzzer beaters and overtime goals. It just seemed I don't know if this is just always the case, and maybe just because we're covering them a lot more. But I don't remember ever seeing this many half court heaves, buzzer beaters, last second shots go in, teams winning in overtime, scoring goals in like the last minute or so of regulation. That's what I remember. A lot of these games just came down to the wire, so close and so competitive all year, and it just makes you look forward to the spring season.
I think it was a great winter season, especially for the Richfield Tigers.
All right, thanks, Kevin.
All right, yeah.
For Kevin Coleman, Eric Gender, and Donald Lang, I'm Frank Granito. I really hope I'm not wearing orange when we get to the spring season. Congrats to the Tigers. We'll see you back here tomorrow at 2.
An FCAC final go to overtime in football, an FCAC final go to overtime in basketball. So what does that mean for the spring? You cut me off.